My name is Gary. I am the co-founder of Doggerbox.
Hi, I'm Deanna from the Pet Taxi.
Guys, Michael J. Solar here, founder of Blue Line Canine Dog Training.
Guys, my name is Paula. I'm the founder of Clip It Grooming.
We fixed all of the technical issues on my website and really boosted my online presence through SEO.
Helped us increase organic traffic by 56.31%.
Word count grew 119%. We saw a 27% increase in backlinks.
Excel Marketing has helped create an amazing website for Doggerbox.
If you have a pet brand and need someone to handle your marketing, Varnit's Pet Excel Marketing is the right choice for you.
If you have a pet brand and you want to grow it, I highly recommend Pet Excel Marketing.
And if you're looking for a marketing agency that's going to boost your pet brand and bring it to the next level, then look no further than Pet Excel Marketing.
I would highly recommend the marketing services of Pet Excel Marketing if you want to promote your pet brand.
They've made a real difference for us, and they can probably, I can almost guarantee, they're going to do the same for you.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Pet Brand Podcast, the show where we dive deep into the stories behind the most inspiring brands in the pet industry. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by someone who's redefining what it means to feed our pets with love and purpose. Jennifer Courtney, the founder of Jen and Jerry's, a premium pet food brand that's making waves for its science-backed nutrition, sustainability, and heart-led mission. With a fascinating background in medical diagnostic, biotechnology, and even real estate, she brought a unique perspective to the pet food space, combining passion with innovation to craft products that truly puts pet first. I'm yours, Varnit, and I can't wait for you to hear this incredible journey of turning expertise into impact. So let's jump right into the conversation. Jennifer, thank you so much for being a part of Pet Brand Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Great, great. So yeah, I mean, like to kick things off, like let's get to know you a little bit. Like tell us about your background before starting Jen and Jerry's and how your experience shaped your journey as a pet brand founder.
I mean, the most important part of my background is I've always been an animal lover.
Wow.
So had dogs my whole life,
Mhm.
and Jerry, who's my business partner, is 15 years old now, and I've had him since he was since he
Wow.
was one.
Mhm.
So yeah, but I've been in, healthcare and science. I studied science in college, and I've always just been very curious about what causes diseases and
Mhm.
why we're so plagued with cancers and just crazy things that people didn't have 100 years ago that would have
Yeah.
been extremely rare.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know the importance of nutrition. People think it's all just genetics, and sometimes genetics plays a role, but
Mhm.
it's just so obvious to me that the food we've been eating, especially since World War II, has been highly contributed to
Mhm.
the way, our health. And
Mhm.
obviously that rolls over into our dogs' health too. We haven't
Mhm.
been feeding our dogs properly. They used to eat fresh food, and in the
Mhm.
last 40 plus years, they haven't.
Mhm.
Anyway, that might have been a lot, but I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
I can go on about that.
Mhm. Mhm. And considering your unique background, like how does your experience in medical diagnostic and biotechnology influence the way you approach pet nutrition and ingredient sourcing today?
Well, again, just the fact that I have a science background, it helps
Mm.
me to I know how to do research, and I know how to, know what to believe and what not to believe. That's a big part of getting a science degree, is knowing how to review papers and peer-reviewed
Yeah.
data
Mm.
and understanding what's true and what's not, and not buying into crazy things like what comes out of RFK Jr.'s mouth.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Uh, and now that we understand your roots, right, let's dive into the early days of Jen and Jerry's. Like, what was some of the biggest challenge you faced when starting Jen and Jerry's, and like, how did you overcome them?
I mean, the biggest challenge is getting funding, and that's something I'm still working on. But I
Okay.
think just
Mm.
in general, getting this product out and available to people. I tried to competitively price it
Mm.
with similar pet food brands that are actually not as high quality,
Mm.
just so that we can get it out there, people loving it and appreciating how
Mhm.
important it is to feed your dogs the best food possible, because they don't live as long as we do. We should be nourishing them with the
Yeah.
best food available to them and not garbage kibble.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And as the brand, like evolved, like what do you believe sets Jen and Jerry apart from other premium pet food brands that are in the market right now?
And, I could be wrong, but I don't know of another premium pet food brand that is all organic, sustainably sourced,
Hmm.
full round nutrition. And I mean, mine is fresh. I know there are some freeze dried options that might come close to that,
Hmm.
but ours is eco conscious as well as being nutritionally conscious, which is also better for your dog.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, can you walk us through like your product development process, like from the concept to market ready formulas? How does that whole process works?
Um, well, I mean, I started doing this just making the food for my dog and, buying, certain brands like other fresh pet food brands because I knew when they came available that they
Yeah.
were better
Hmm.
than kibble and immediately bought
Hmm.
into it.
Hmm.
And I have a 15-year-old dog who's in perfect health, and I don't know anyone else who can say that. I'd had other dogs, and by 15, they were never in perfect health. They always had
Hmm.
issues, and they were fed kibble.
Hmm.
But Jerry is my dog, and so I chose to feed him something better. But anyway, in the process of buying these other pet food brands, I thought, I can make this. What's so hard
Yeah.
about it?
Yeah.
And so obviously I started doing what a normal mom would do, just thinking, okay, I'm gonna cook food. They need,
Hmm.
certain types of they're obviously gonna need meat and other things to give them well-rounded nutrition. So it
Hmm.
was very basic.
Hmm.
And as it evolved, as I was kind of doing research, my dog's very picky.
Yeah.
So that was
Hmm.
the biggest
Yeah.
obstacle with him was
Hmm.
trying to get him to eat something that I would cook him because even fresh chicken, unless it was just pure chicken, he wouldn't eat it.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
anyway, long story short here,
Hmm.
I decided not only can I do this myself, I can do it better.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about being eco-friendly and
Hmm.
also being more the most nutritionally balanced option as well
Hmm.
as organic.
Hmm.
You can buy organic kibble, but
Hmm.
it's still garbage. So I don't
Hmm.
know of any other fresh pet food brands that are all organic. So I took this concept and ran with it. And after time of researching, a lot of time of researching,
Hmm.
once I could finally get him to eat it,
Yeah.
because he's so picky. My
Hmm.
other dog has no problem. She gobbles it all up.
Hmm.
So it just took some time to get the recipe right along,
Yeah.
as far as what he would eat and what's nutritionally
Hmm.
favorable. And yeah, so I make it in my kitchen because that's
Yeah.
where I've been making his food. I
Hmm.
learned how to make it in larger batches,
Hmm.
and when a customer orders it, I vacuum seal it in
Wow.
appropriate sized
Hmm.
um,
So
you
like,
know,
how
filler.
are you planning to like scale this thing up? Like, do you want like do you already have a team, or are you the only one who's working on it?
I'm the only person.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
yes, scalability is very important to me. I already have a vision for that, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just a matter of having enough clientele that I can
Definitely. Yeah.
justify doing it.
Hmm.
So, I've already looked into what a space in Los Angeles would cost
Okay.
me because I want it to be close to home
Okay. Hmm.
to a commercial space. And, I
Hmm.
have an idea, obviously it needs to have a walk-in freezer, walk-in fridge,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Hmm.
place to process all of the products.
Hmm.
So, and then eventually I'll get to the point of hiring people, but
Yeah.
right now it's just a one-man show,
Yeah.
one-woman show, whatever.
Definitely. And looking back, like on your journey, like what do you think, like what has been the most rewarding part of building Jan and Jerry's till now?
I just feel so much better about what I'm feeding my dog, and I'm
Yeah.
still
Mm,
amazed at
mm,
how good a health he's in.
mm.
It's so, I already forgot the question.
I mean, like,
I was thinking about my puppy.
yeah, what was the most rewarding moment for you since like you have been building Jan and Jerry's? I mean, you
Yeah,
already told about it. Yeah.
just the
Yeah.
fact that Jerry
Mm,
is in such good health. My other little girl, she's my little
mm,
pup, she's almost 9 years old. She's in perfect health. And I'm just knock on wood, because I'm always scared when I say that out loud that I'm gonna jinx it.
Yeah.
But that's the most rewarding part, and I hope that I can just spread this
Mhm.
to make it accessible to every dog out there, to where we aren't feeding dogs kibble, and where
Mm.
they deserve to eat organic food. That's what we should be eating, and we
Mhm.
choose not to, and that's our choice. We're
Mm.
making an informed decision, but they don't know any better. They're going to feed what you eat them. So
Yeah.
it's our duty to feed them the most nutritious thing possible. Just like if they were
Mm.
a 3-month-old baby,
Yeah.
you have to be
Yeah.
a responsible parent.
Mhm. That's Jerry in the background.
Yeah, that's him. He's
She,
always near mommy.
uh, great. So you were talking about her. She just came like, all right, I'm in the picture now.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Beside Jennifer, beside like let's take like a broad view. Let's say somebody who's listening to this podcast, right? And they are not aware of the pet industry. What do you think? Like, what's fueling pet industry? Because it's showing great growth margin, even with like inflation and recession, right? So, what do you think? Like, what's the major thing that's like scaling this industry? Why are people investing in it? Why it's doing so much?
I mean, honestly, I feel that probably people becoming aware from all of the blitz marketing from brands like Farmer's Dog and Nom
Yeah,
Nom,
yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
they're becoming more aware that kibble is not the best thing to feed their dog.
Yeah, yeah.
And it just takes a quick question to Chat GPT, what is the healthiest food to feed my dog?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is not kibble. And there's AGEs, advanced glycated end products, that are produced, but from the high temperature of kibble. And some people may be aware of this, some may not, and we'll just make them aware of it right now. But it is a known potential carcinogen.
Mm,
So why are we putting this in our dogs' mouths? And
mm, mm,
one of 3 dogs are
mm,
getting cancer these days. That's unheard of.
mm,
And I mean, you're feeding them a carcinogen, of course they are. So
mm,
I think people are just starting to be more aware that their dog is so precious to them. We treat our dogs like our babies. Another reason I think also too, a lot of people are choosing not to have children,
okay.
and
Mm,
instead they have dogs
mm. Basically,
or
like people
cats.
still need a emotional support, right?
Yeah, we
Mm.
all we all like to feel we have a parental desire,
Instinct. Yeah. Mm,
a need to nurture in a way.
mm,
And we build these like unbelievable bonds with these animals that you're never going to build with any other animal on the planet,
mm, mm,
including people. You'll never build as tight of a bond as you will
mm,
with a dog. And so I think we're as a society kind of waking up and appreciating them more as our babies.
mm.
And we understand how important it is to treat them with
Yeah.
such, precious delicacy, and know
Mm,
that they're not surviving as long as we are. So let's make their lives as wonderful as possible
yeah.
and healthy as possible.
Mm, mm. And a lot of people say that the pet industry is like recession proof. And like, what are your perception of it? Like, what is your opinion on it?
I mean, I think that's a good assessment because, like I said, if you think of your dog as your baby, and I see that everywhere I go,
Mm,
especially in LA.
okay. Mm, mm,
Um, I meet people at the dog park. They said a lot of these, like I said, a lot of people that they only have a dog, they don't have a kid. I even know people that have kids that prefer
wow.
their dog.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think as long as we realize how precious they are, and we
Mm,
build that amazing bond with them,
mm,
we're glued to the
mm,
love that we have with them. It's inseparable, and we appreciate it like never before.
mm.
So yeah, especially as we have less children in our lives, it's easier to focus on that.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to do what's best for them if we know what's best.
Yeah, yeah. And looking forward to the future, like with the rise of fresh and functional pet foods, how do you see the market evolving, let's say in next 3 to 5 years?
I think that's a good question. I really don't know, because I'm surprised that Farmer's Dog and Nom Nom and other
Mm.
brands like that haven't upped their game to doing what I'm doing already. Like
Okay.
that would have been the easiest
Mm.
thing, but I
Mm.
just don't see them doing it.
Okay.
So I think there's going to be some newcomers like me that are going to step in
Mm.
and say, hey, there's a space for this.
Mm.
And if there are a few brands out there, it's not being widely advertised enough.
Mm.
The
Mm.
only
Yeah.
other ones that I know are comparable are not fresh food. And I
Mm.
understand
Mm.
there is a benefit to
Mm.
freeze-dried food. It's more shelf stable and more
Mm.
portable.
Mm. Mm.
But it's just a matter of preference too.
Mm.
That's another step in the process that would potentially cost money. And
Mm.
I think
Mm.
some people like the idea of feeding fresh food just because it seems like real food, where the
Yeah.
freeze-dried
Yeah.
food, it just doesn't, it seems processed, which is what
Mm.
people are trying to get away from.
Mm. Mm. And like,
Sorry, I should have closed that window.
sure, sure, no worries. Finally, like, for those who's dreaming to starting their own pet food brand, like what's the single best piece of advice you would give them before they get started?
Do your research about nutrition.
Mm.
Do a lot of research because knowing which fibers are soluble for dogs
Mm. Mm.
and which foods dogs should not be eating, or at least only eating in very small amounts. Understanding general health, like that's something,
Mm.
the background that I come from is having understanding health.
Mm.
And it's kind of hard to teach someone that who doesn't already have a grasp on that. But
Mm.
dog health is really essentially the same as human health. There's certain foods that are really good for them and certain foods they can't eat.
Mm.
And you on top of knowing that, you need to understand general health, how your liver works, how your kidneys work.
Yeah. Mm.
So just important things like that and what things dogs could be sensitive to in their stomachs and their
Mm.
digestive tract.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
And
think just understanding health and doing a lot of research first is very important, paramount.
hmm hmm And also, like, currently, are you looking for investors? Are you like constantly pitching them? Is that something that you're doing right now?
I've stopped pitching people
Okay.
because if you've ever seen an episode of Shark Tank, one
Yeah.
thing they want to see is numbers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
until you have consistent numbers,
Mm.
it's
Mm.
kind of hard to pitch something. So I'm just going out there and I'm meeting people and I have my own advertising materials and I hand it
Okay.
to them, or I pull up my website up on their phone
Mm.
and
Mm.
show it to them.
Mm.
So I feel like
Mm.
that's my best way to have advertising is in person because people see my passion
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they know it's not just some other random dog food brand or just, they know it's not made up junk. It's coming from someone who's passionate about dog
Mm.
health and about
Mm.
my dogs.
Mm. Mm.
So I would love to pitch eventually someone who's interested in scaling this up and
Mm.
blitz marketing with me. But it's like I said, you got to have consistent numbers, so that takes
Definitely.
time.
Yeah, definitely. And like, if somebody is listening to this podcast, like, where can people find these investors, or like, where can people meet in person in like in-person events where they can find opportunities like that to pitch their product to scale that up?
Yeah, actually, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
I've been, several people have told me, oh, I could introduce you to investors. I mean, it's LA, so there's obviously a lot of rich people here and a lot of
Yeah. Mm.
venture capitalists,
Mhm.
but it's not like they're walking around with it tattooed on their forehead.
Yeah.
So unless they're widely available, it's hard to
It is
find these
difficult,
people. But
definitely. Yeah.
it's something I'll work on a little harder again once I've got numbers that I can
Yeah.
come at them. I can
Mhm.
quickly put together a business plan. It's just a
Mm.
matter of the numbers. It's just like on Shark Tank, they want to see consistent numbers. It
Definitely.
doesn't know where their profit's going to be.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. And that brings us to the end of another episode of Pet Brand Podcast. A huge thank you to our guest today, the founder of Jen and Jerry's, for sharing such valuable insight. Thank you so much for your time, Jennifer.
Yeah, thank you so much.